It's so nice to be back and to see people. Happy Easter. Yes, happy Easter. Hi, Chantal. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sunday morning mindful practice, our weekly mindfulness practice, meditation practice. I'm very happy that you're here. We took an unexpected 2-week vacation from this, as I have been very busy getting married and on my honeymoon. I had hoped, of course, to do meditation last week in Mexico, but life just had a different plan. The resort that we were staying at didn't have very good Wi-Fi, and so there were spots where it worked, but those spots weren't so wonderful or conducive for meditation. So here we are back. And for those of you who maybe don't know me, my name is Glenda, pardon me, Glenda Miles, and I am, thank you, Serena. I am the director of Mindful Healing Space, and the purpose of these sessions is really to touch in or have this point of time in our week to be able to come together, both in community, but even just to kind of practice, right? To set up, if you will. I picked Sundays so that it was like a setup for the week. At least we could come here, have moments to find rest and stillness in our body and our mind, and maybe to set some intentions for the week ahead, but to have this moment even of playing with the idea of meditation or mindfulness in our lives, and what that could be like for us, whether or not you have a regular meditation practice or not. And I know many people kind of dabble in it. Some people have a regular practice, and that's wonderful. And other people, it's like akin, I think, to eating healthy. We all know maybe we should do it, but it's not always so easy to do it all the time. And so for April, if you follow us on Mindful Healing Space on it's true, right? If you follow us on Instagram or on Facebook, you might notice that we've been doing 30 days of mindful living over the course of April. And so it was really these ways of touching in on how we can, mindfulness isn't just about sitting in meditation, but actually taking it into our daily lives and allowing it to be with us in a different way, from the way we wash our hands, perhaps, or our eating, or how we're engaging with people, or these simple moments of time. And so it's our hope that we are able to translate these practices of mindfulness into our daily lives. So in yoga, we often talk about on the mat, off the mat. So it's not just about coming to a yoga practice and moving our bodies, but in fact, taking some of the principles of yoga, which is much more than our asanas, our movement, our body postures, but in fact taking it into our daily lives through the yamas and niyamas that we learn through yoga philosophy. And so mindfulness is similar. It's like, how does it help us? How do we actually achieve the benefits that come with a sustainable practice and a wellness lifestyle? And so I think for me, sitting in meditation, often the things that come up, right? The resistance, the stories, that inner critic, perhaps, all of those little things that start to come up in our minds, the thoughts, are actually things that come up often in other areas of our life as well. So when we create a space to notice, to become aware of, we can actually start to be with those things in a different way. And we start to then see it translated in other areas of our life as well, potentially. So at this point, I want to just highlight something that's coming up on April 20th, which is Wednesday. I'm going to be doing a masterclass on meditation. And I mean, that's a very broad topic, but really what I'm going to be talking about is there's benefits to mindfulness meditation that we all probably have heard about. I mean, it's pretty mainstream at this point. We're all here right now. But more than those is, how do you actually realize those benefits? How do we create the principles and practices that allow us to be successful in actually realizing those benefits? And so, we're going to be talking about that, right? So how do we actually create those practices in our lives that allow us to, to realize all those wonderful benefits? And there's a list of them, and we'll go through some of those. And so it's a free masterclass. I invite you all. And in that masterclass, I'll also be talking about a challenge we're going to be doing in May, which is 31 days of meditation. Now, there's lots of meditation challenges out there, and they're all wonderful. I think it's a wonderful way of really helping, because 31 days of consecutive meditation is not an easy thing to do. And so when we do it together and we have these systems that allow us to support each other in doing it, it's much more likely for us to create sustainable practices. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about this idea of mindful living and how the principles of mindfulness can really help us in living our life, if you will, in a more full and fulfilling way. So, again, we've heard it, right? We're seeing mindfulness come up in some of the strangest places, if you will, from boardrooms to university to high performance activities and athletes, as well as just helping people be more creative and productive in their own lives. And so mindfulness is really, it's quite simple. It's one of those beautiful things about what we often call sutras, which is a thread. So it's this little seed, if you will, that can blossom into so much more. Although it's simple, if you will, it is actually so complex at the same time. So mindfulness is the practice of being present. There's power in being present. And I tell you this because you know this already to be true. Think about any relationship that you have, a friendship, a family member, a partner, of children. Children, this comes up often, but where you're having a conversation with them and you know that they're not present. You don't have to ask the question. You can tell just by how it feels for you that they're not present. It doesn't mean they're not paying attention, although that's usually related. But although they're there physically and they might even be looking at you, you know that their mind is elsewhere. And we can feel this, but we can feel it in another person more than we can feel it in ourselves often, because we ourselves go into those stories, we go into those moments where we're somewhere else and we're not being present. And in our ability to learn, because it really is training ourselves to be in this, I shouldn't say that, learning is not the right way, of allowing ourselves the space to be present, which is our natural way, if you will, our essence, our natural essence. And so how do we learn to be in the moment without judgment, without attachment either? Because that's the other thing that we can do, right? We go, oh, here's a thought, whoop, I'm gone. And so with the awareness or tuning in, we come to accept. And acceptance is really about, it is what it is, right? It doesn't mean that we like it, because the situation could be unpleasant, but it doesn't change the fact that it is unpleasant. So the non-judgmental part of it is accepting it for what it is. And then we give space for the experience. And when we give space for the experience and just watch it, if you will, or be with it, now all of a sudden we can train ourselves to be fully present to the unfolding of our life. And it is a very powerful thing. And this matters not if the situation is positive or negative, pleasant or unpleasant. These moments in time require us, if you will, to be fully present to our own life. And believe it or not, most of us through most of our day are not actually present. Not only to ourselves and what's going on for ourselves, but also to the other people in our lives. We may go in for a moment, imagine, I sometimes do this with my partner, ADHD, so sometimes I really have to get his attention. And so I'll wait for him to actually say, okay, I am present right now with you. And so sometimes we have to do that, but we have to do that often with ourselves too, which we don't necessarily practice as often. And so why would you think that this is important in your life? I think for many people, we can find ourselves in our day drifting off into daydreams, imagination, or perhaps worry or fear about what could be. We're either living in the future, this unknown place, this unknown, which can create a lot of fear and worry for ourselves. And so it's our attempt, maybe in our limited fashion, to prepare ourselves, right, for what might come. Of course, we also know that it's really unlikely that that's the way it's going to come. But we somehow convince ourselves otherwise. And then there's those moments maybe that we ponder what's already happened, ruminate. So I had one of those moments on vacation that I wanted to share. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this, because it's certainly not the first time that it's happened to me. So we were on our way to dinner, and I had to stop at the front desk of our resort for a quick question. And I waited in line. There was 3 or 4 lineups, and I waited in line for one. And as I was about to be the next person, the person closed the counter, if you will, right, and walked away. So I was kind of frustrated because I had waited already a while, but I went into the next line and waited. And when I was the next person, the agent took the person from the next row over, even though they had just shown up. And, I will say I was not very happy. I was really annoyed at this moment in time. I had already waited probably about 15 minutes at this point, and I said something. Let's just call it sternly. Like, what the heck? What's going on? Like, why would you take this person? I've been waiting longer than anybody else in line. And he just shrugged and he's like, well, what do you want? And at that moment, I decided to walk away. So I walked away, and I was just like, I said to my partner, you need to deal with this. I need to go. So we went off to dinner. But the trouble was, I didn't actually leave it there. I walked away, but I didn't leave it there. I thought about it for all the way to the dinner. And then when we sat down, I was still thinking about it and ruminating on it and going through it all in my mind, what had happened, what I could have said, all of the things. And the lovely waiter came up and took our orders. And I actually told him twice to give us a few more minutes, because I was still in the story of what was happening. And it wasn't until the appetizers came that I realized, I really caught myself in going, okay, I am now not enjoying this moment in time with my husband, having this beautiful dinner in this beautiful place, because I am caught up in something that happened at that point, probably half an hour before that. And so I realized the result, right, was me not being present, me sitting and ruminating on this. It's already done. I had no ability to change what had already happened. Of course, I could have gone and addressed it later, which I didn't, which was a choice by the end of the dinner. Also tuning in with myself about how maybe I overreacted in that place, or could have handled that situation differently, knowing that I was a little hangry. I was tired. I was out in the sun all day. I was frustrated because I just had a little question that I just wanted answer. And the universe was not allowing me to get the answer to that. And so I had I had to be human with myself, right? But also to acknowledge the power of being present or not present. Now, had I allowed that to continue on, it would have ruined the whole evening. Potentially, for me at least, and probably my partner would have been a little upset that I wasn't present. And so when we don't practice, right, mindfulness or how to be with these things, we might not be as attentive to when we're not there. But also, we don't practice to eliminate unpleasant experiences. Those unpleasant experiences happen for us all the time. Hopefully not too many times, but they happen. And so it's not necessarily about them going away, but how do we handle them better and not allow it to expand to last all day or evening? Those moments in time where something happens and it ruins your day. And someone says, oh, I had a terrible day. This thing happened early in the morning. And it's like, okay, but what happened the rest of the day? It's like, well, they were just in that moment for the whole day, which then didn't allow them to be present to all of the other possible things that ended up happening. Like for me in that moment, being grateful that I caught it as early as I did so that I could enjoy the rest of my meal and the rest of my evening. So meditation is the means to which we awaken to who we are. It's the essence. Often people will call it, loving awareness or natural presence. It's getting rid of all of the extra stuff and just allowing ourselves to be with. And it really is a practice. So depending on where you are in your own practice, at the beginning, it's harder. I'm not gonna lie, it's harder because you're now dealing with so many other factors. And over time, as you cultivate this practice, you're able to notice things in a different way. Awareness becomes really important. So let's practice. So there's this beautiful quote from True Refuge, and it says, stepping out of the busyness, stopping our endless pursuit of getting somewhere else is perhaps the most beautiful offering we can make our spirit. And so in light of that, I invite you, wherever you may be in this moment, to find a comfortable seat. And for today's practice, we're really going to be with this idea of being present, of being our natural present. A reminder, of course, that there is no doing it right, but simply allowing for the experience to be whatever it's going to be today for you. And today's experience or this moment's experience may be different than later in the day or tomorrow or next week. So giving it space and being with it without judgment is this practice of unconditional friendliness. Pema Chodron calls it unconditional friendliness, both to yourself and to the experience. So finding a comfortable seat, strong back, soft belly. We want to remain alert and awake, but also open and receptive. So the strong back allows us to stay alert. It gives us the foundation or the structure, but our muscles soften, allowing our bones, if you will, to create the structure while our muscles soften. Your eyes can be open. If they're open, soft and receptive, gaze, or you can close them, whatever works better for you today. And allow your body tension to just release, starting perhaps with your head, just noticing and releasing all of those major points, your eyes. The spaces around your ear, just notice them, relax, release. As you do so, you might feel your jaw release, the tongue on your bottom of your mouth. releasing the jaw, softening your throat, your shoulders, your chest and belly. Release. If you are newer to the practice, perhaps allowing yourself to focus on a body part, could be hand to chest, or your breath. Just noticing now where you notice your breath the most. Your nose, your throat, your chest, your belly. You place your hand on your belly, your upper belly, right below your diaphragm. Can you feel it expand with your inhale and contract with your exhale? The calmer we are, the more likely we are to just be in a space of natural presence. So if you find it helpful, of course, to focus on your breath, but not doing so with your thinking brain, but just noticing. As you become more present to this moment, to whatever might be unfolding, notice what is happening within you, the chatter of your mind, perhaps a sensation in your body, feeling might be arising. Whatever it is, allow it, give it space without grasping, resisting, or judging. Allow it to be almost like in the background. The more we allow it to be, the more we are able to connect to our deepest nature, to this unabiding presence. As you notice any of the thoughts, sensations, or feelings that arise, allow them to be wherever they are. Returning your focus to your body, to this moment. Releasing all the thoughts, even the ones about you doing a meditation. The more we can just release, let go, find our way into this space of simple, loving awareness. It's effortless. Allow this stillness to wrap you. To feel safe, held. Unconditional friendliness towards all of your experience. The thoughts, the feelings, the sounds, the sensations. Releasing them all and allowing yourself to be with the natural presence of loving awareness. In their last few moments, returning your attention now to your breath, to the body's subtle shifts with each inhale and exhale. Allowing this single point focus on the subtle shift of your body. And whenever you're ready, returning to the space around you, starting to take in the sounds. Perhaps if your eyes are closed, just envisioning the space around you, the supports that you're sitting upon, feeling your body in the space. When you feel grounded and present in your body, in the experience, opening your eyes, coming back to this time and space. Perhaps depending upon your own practices, thinking about your intention for the coming week, taking a few more moments for yourself, whatever that might look like. And even just thinking about what that experience was like of being with the natural presence that is within you, the resistance that perhaps came up for you, the idea of grasping on to whether that's to a feeling or a thought or a story. What came up for you? What was your experience like? I can almost guarantee you that it will change the next time you try to do it. Even if we tried to do it right now again, it might be different, and that's okay. That kind of goes to the idea that allowing the unfolding of the experience to be what it is, because it will be whatever it is, allows us to be further away from it, if you will, allows it to kind of be able to go into the background the more that we practice. I wish you all an absolutely wonderful day, and thank you for being here, and a wonderful week ahead. Take good care.